And what did he ask? He said, or Scott said, "Oh, wait a second. Are you guys all single?" He said it was all matchmakers, right?
And
Yeah.
Coaches and
Or coaches.
Ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or am I the only one who thinks that?
Oh no, I'm with you.
Have you ever noticed that dating coaches usually are dateless?
Yeah.
That's because they're.
Well,
so
you know what they're
focused on their
doing?
work, Rex.
I just
because
thought
people
about
that
that.
can't teach. I should be a relationship coach.
Because people who
I'd be the best.
Well, you know what I was thinking is, I think the reason why a matchmaker's a matchmaker, they get in the front of the line, try to check them out. If they're good, they'll keep them for themselves. That's why they're a matchmaker. So I went ahead in our group and I stuck this picture to try to show them that Rex was good. He was lucky to be here with us.
I
That's
think,
all
I
I'm
think
trying to
you're
say.
onto something there, Lynn. I think you're onto something. We should all get to the head of the line. We're all matchmakers.
Oh, he stuck backstage. I'm sorry.
I'm a flirting expert. I think you had a
Oh, look, he
flirt.
turned his light back on.
I identify as a matchmaker.
Yeah, there you go. Identify as a matchmaker. Oh my
Now
gosh.
you have to go matchmaker.
Make me a match.
Oh my
So
god!
for you guys to know, if you're not going to be here, you got to be worried that we're going to be talking about you when you're not here.
Oh.
So you better show up.
What's the difference? You talk about them when they are here.
That's true.
Yeah, and we were hoping about talking about a horse tonight, but
Yeah, really.
Again,
So-
legal in California.
oh man,
I can say that because I'm ex-California.
Jonesy, take control here, will you? Come on.
You know, I just got out of the car like 2 minutes before you saw me.
yeah.
I've been out training all day, and I got to go back tomorrow and do part 2. Great
Yay.
people I'm working with, but still, I'm
I
like,
thought you were going to say, I got to go back in the car. And I'm like,
no. So no. Tonight I get to chill out, but it's good to spend night with Tuesday night with friends and talk about whatever we talk about. And you know, one of the things I was thinking about, maybe we could do a little something kind of fun because we are all very different in what we do, but there's a lot of similarities. But we're very different in the paths that we've chosen and stuff like that. We don't really get a chance to tell too much like personal stuff, and I don't want to get deep with anybody, but I'd really love to know, why do you guys do what you do? What is it, you know, what was it that put you on the path that you're on? And I think people would be interested in that, because I think some people think we're just born with this idea and that our lives come together like that. But for many of us, it's like it's been a strange path to get where we're at. So I think, why don't we take a few moments and let's spend today and really talk about, well, and then, you know, obviously we'll laugh at each other and make fun of each other and talk about each other, but let's talk about ourselves for a moment.
We'll start with Kellen.
And put some stuff out there. I mean, listen, my story is really an obvious one. I mean, there's more details involved, but, you know, I was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I was a thief, and I was a violent human being, and I had all of these things. And, but I'm going to tell you this, the whole time I was doing all the wrong things, I felt like I was not who I was supposed to be. I knew I was not supposed to die in the streets like that. I was not supposed to sit in jail the way I did. I wasn't supposed to do those things. There was something inside me that said, there's something different for you. And as soon as I found a way to break free from the chains of the addiction, I was able to start to discover, this is what I am. This is what I want to be. And so I've had, like, my road is a very simple road, although it was a painful one. But coming out the other side of that, I knew that I was gifted with the opportunity to get a second chance at my family, a second chance at life, a second chance with friends like Lynn. I've been given a lot of second chances, and to pay that forward, I need to supply that opportunity for a second chance to as many people as I can. That is why I ended up doing what I'm doing, and I'd love to hear why you guys do what you do.
And I'm going to interject, though, with Scott, because I knew way back then at 12 years old that he was a good guy. And I knew when I met him again at, I think we were 16, 17, I knew he had a heart in the right place, but he didn't want to. He still was hiding from who he really was. I just still knew he was a genuine good guy.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
separate ways and stuff, but we got to see each other every day. And he did, and he was, and he still is the guy that I knew since day one. And I knew
Thank you.
that, so to see him on the other side, I am not surprised because I knew you were the good-hearted person. You were just lost and jumbled because, and I love Mama Sandy and I love our parents and stuff, but our parents weren't equipped to teach us, or we just grew up with what we knew, or we just were getting by in life. But that's our generation. That's where we were. We were just lost kids, didn't know what to do, and we were just trying to fit in and get by. So, here we are. But anyhow, I just wanted to say that. But going forward, go ahead, Kellen.
Kellen, you're in the middle.
I'm in the middle. Yay.
She's at the bottom. Scott.
All right. Kellen, let's just get this out of the way so there's no confusion. What are your final thoughts for the night?
Which, by the way, she was on Mary Kay and Scott's show, and it was great.
Oh my God!
I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself because the
No,
bottom line is my whole life I was born. I had an alcoholic family. My dad, my mom was passive. It's funny. You either do what they do or you do the complete opposite. And I was one of those run complete opposite overachievers. But I never really my values and my goals and my passions, they never lined up until COVID. So it is at that point that I took the one thing that was consistent in everything that I did, because I was highly successful in everything that I did, even though I hated it. I hated it. And the one thing that was consistent was gratitude. So I turned that into my business, and now I coach strategic gratitude, which sounds kind of funny because gratitude is supposed to be authentic, and it is, but I teach people how to do it right, and then I become, that led me to my book, and then my book led me to being a speaker internationally. And so that's just the abridged version of it. Is I made sure now everything's in alignment, and I'm passionate about it, and I love waking up every morning and doing what I do.
I love
Wow.
you. I've seen you grow so much through it too. So
you were there in the beginning.
Yes, I know.
You, Alan.
and to think we were close in between it. It's just it's a great evolve.
I don't think there's any better statement of defining success as what you just said. I wake up in the morning loving what I do. I don't think there's any greater moment in success or in life than when you reach that point, you realize I'm living my own dream. I'm living the dream.
Well, when I lived in San
says
Francisco,
it, they don't mean it.
When I lived in San Francisco, I had a 2-hour commute to get to my clients and stuff like that. Now I have a 5-foot commute, and my commute traffic is 3 pugs that get in my way as I'm going to my office. That's a good life.
That is a good life. That is a good life. 2 hips. What up, buddy?
What up? From the beginning, I was a multi-sport athlete, so it was just fun to be able to do those different things and be around such amazing coaches all the way along the way, and then choose one of them at the University of Iowa and play for Coach Hayden Fry. I learned a tremendous amount of football from the man, but I learned more life skills than anything else that I use to this day. And it was so funny. He really worked to make me he wanted me to be a coach. And so much so that I was a straight on kicker. I was probably one of the last straight on kickers. People are going, "What? You are old." Oh shit. But
mature. You taught me that word.
That's right. I actually learned how to kick soccer style so that I could teach it. So before games, I used to freak out teams because I'd kick straight on, and then I'd take off that shoe and change to another shoe, and I'd kick soccer style. And they'd go like, "What's good with this guy?" But he wanted me to be a coach, and it was so funny. He said, "I can get you an assistant high school coaching job in Texas." And I went, "That does not sound like a career path to me." That's how little I realized Hayden Fry's influence in the state of Texas. Had I done that, it'd be a whole different story these days. But anyway, the point is that, I went into business. I went into corporate life because my dad worked for the same company for 46 years. What do? You do what was modeled. And then you're there, and 13 and a half years into it, corporate America changed. Shocker. And I chose not to change with it. Well, I actually changed beyond it. I didn't like they were changing backwards, and I didn't like what they were doing. They were trying to do some things I didn't agree with. They had every right to ask. I had every right to say no. I just didn't have every right to say no and still work there. So I left. Went out on my own and got other experiences so I've been a sales guy and I was a sales trainer in corporate America and all that. So standing in front of a room wasn't that big deal, but it came down to a point where after doing that for a period of time, hell, my job was easy, but you sit there and again, to those who are granted much is expected. And I didn't feel like I was living up to what I could have done. And I felt like I could serve more people if I became a professional speaker. And man, how amazingly rewarding that is. And it's not I'm a speaker, a trainer, a coach, and then do all sorts of other crap. But the point is, the speaker is, you're a rock star. You're on stage. You pontificate for a few minutes. Good night, Detroit. Of course, you're in Denver and you look stupid, but you're there and you're gone. Training is a lifelong thing. I still have people from a training I did April 1st and 2nd, 2004, sharing that one of the things I taught just closed their biggest deal ever. That's 20 years ago. I mean, that is so cool to still have those. Speaking is cool and fun. Training is relationship and everything. And then coaching is even that one level deeper. And so for me, it was getting into being able to serve more people. And like Kellen, it's a blast to just be able to do what I do and sit and talk with people and stuff over time and meet amazing people and have amazing friends and do all those kinds of things. You talk about being able to be around some people who are changing lives, and it feels great to be able to improve people's lives and do that. And then you're around some other people and you go, man, I still got a lot of work to do. I remember Nick particularly saying one day, I've spoken in front of 3 billion people at this point, live in the stadiums. And he said, I've probably brought 400,000 or 500,000 people to Christ. He said, but the last thing I'm going to do is be at the pearly gate and say, I didn't hit my quota. Right? And so you sit there and go, okay, never mind. I got work to do. Right. So that's why, again, you do shows like this and you do other things because it's a blast. It's fun. Mm-hmm. If it makes your heart go pitter pat, it's not necessarily easy. It's not any of those kinds of things, but man, it's rewarding. Even if you just get that one that says, wow, you really made a difference for me. It's all it takes. That gives you the fuel to go on and say, yep, okay, next, let's go. So it's been interesting for sure.
You're missed when you're not here, Jonesy, or hipster.
Well, thank you.
You just missed when you're not here. I appreciate you and love you. And
well, all
honored.
All that said, simple question, Scott. Are you living your authentic life now?
Well, what's really interesting as the authentic connector, I have had a pattern, because I have such a desire to serve others, of stop doing my stuff to help them grow their stuff. And very seriously, over the last few weeks, I've had multiple spiritual guides, intuitives, yeah, whatever you want to call them, who don't know each other, 4 in 7 days, come and say, "You're doing good. You're just not doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing your stuff." And when 4 people who don't know each other and don't know me all say the exact same thing, they call that a clue. And so, I mean, that's why you see, and you probably didn't even notice the logo change up over my shoulder, but it used to just say the Authentic Connector, and now it actually has my name there. I have never promoted my name until probably two weeks ago. And that's why I missed last week, because quite frankly, some guys came in and said, "We want to do this with you because of you."
Of course.
So it's, no matter who you are and what you do, there are always little ways to maybe not lay it all out there. And that's not a possibility anymore. It's done, in fact. But what's interesting, I've got a brand new series, because one of my buddies said, "Your book's called That Sucks, What Now?" You've got all these what now moments. And he said, he goes, "You got these sound bites that are just crazy. Why aren't you recording these?"
Yeah.
And so yesterday I sat down and recorded 20 what now wisdoms.
Nice.
I love it. Got to get in a book too.
It's coming with a whole new series
Awesome.
of all these lessons that I've learned. So I need all your help. So
Y'all got it.
we
You got it.
We're there.
The brother.
Done.
We're there.
Done.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks for the
sharing all
question,
that.
Scott. I mean, that's really the thing is, yeah, it's next level. It's burn the ships level.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? You go like hell, and then it's time to burn the ships.
That's
It's
right.
time to burn the ships.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Sandy.
Oh goodness, I don't even know where to start. Really,
Look how good Kellen is.
I guess I'll start where. Anyway, I was shy as a child all the way to the 5th grade, and something changed between 5th and 6th grade, and I went from shy, not speaking, to very extroverted. I made a change over the summer and decided, that's when I learned, 12 years old, I decided I don't like who I'm portraying or who I am. I don't know why I'm shy. I don't even know what I need to say, but I decided at 12 that I was no longer going to be that. And so I went into 6th grade. I changed schools and everything. So I was able to do that, to kind of reinvent, and figure out who I was. And it turns out I was very extroverted. So I went from kind of not speaking till then. So that was when I started my encouragement journey, encouraging other people. And I had, lots of years of listening to people and observing. So it was really good for me to be shy so I could observe the world. So it was kind of a neat transition to go, okay, now I know, this is how I want to go forward. This is how I want to, to interact with people, and kind of figured out people's, whole social constructs and everything. I kind of just sat back and observed. So it was neat. It was neat. And coming from a dysfunctional family, you learn a lot out of that as well. So you can become experts really quickly in human behavior. So that's kind of when it started. And God gave me a nickname. He named me Sunshine. And it's really funny because everybody from that time, any male figure that was older than me would call me Sunshine ever since then, like all the time. And so, I really had to dig into that. And so it's God nicknamed me that. I know he did. And so I knew that was my purpose. I was to encourage others, and I was to be sunshine. And so everything, any path I've taken has been that path. It's been always like, I go into a job. I may not like the job. It might be a task I didn't like, but I always ended up networking people, training people, and encouraging people. And I just knew that was my job. So in whatever I did. So I did teaching in, really I should have probably become a teacher, and I just didn't have the funds to go to school, etc. Life happens, yada, yada, yada. And so I got to a point in 2019, right before COVID, I decided to become a life coach. That was when I came through my training. I had a life coach. She was actually out there in California, and she was amazing. And she trained me and was like, okay, you're ready. And then it was right before COVID. So I launched my business right then, Sandy Archer Spiritual Health. And I was like, well, there goes that. But God had other plans. I never had done one live stream ever until March of that year, because I couldn't go to Israel. I was supposed to go to Jerusalem, and I was going to do like a live stream from Jerusalem. And I kept it on the books. It was called Awakenings Within. And it was neat how God orchestrated it all. I kept it on the books. I did it. And now it's launched me into kind of this way of helping people. It was totally different than what I thought. I was like everybody else that wanted to be a life coach. Retreats, speaking internationally, writing a book, doing all the things. But God had a different plan for me. And so I've just stepped into that. And that's what I've done. Like that, I've not gone past him, because I used to go past him. He would give me a plan and I'd run ahead, and it would always mess it up. So that's kind of my story, is that, he's really taken his time, and that be still. I've had to learn how to do that, because it was really hard for me. Because once I was 12 and started moving, I was moving. I was a type A, active. Now he's really taught me how to be still. And I asked him not too long ago, I said, God, how do you want me to help? And I have some clients, I have coaching clients. And he said, one by one. And I was like, okay, your plan is better than mine, whatever that is. If that means I'm not going to be in front of all the audience that I thought I would be, that's fine, and you have to be okay with what he puts you in. And that was the thing for me, is like really me stepping into what God wants me to do instead of what I want me to do. I have great ideas. I'm one of those visionaries that I can see the whole picture, and I see plans for, I'm creative. I always have an idea, but I have really learned how to be still in that and just sit back and go, okay, it will come when he turns the light on. So that's my story pretty much. I'm learning still. I'm going through stuff. Luckily life is an experience that can be shared. And I love that the platform that we have, we can share it and we can tell it and be authentic in it. And I can tell people when they're not authentic. I can tell when they're just on there going blah, blah, blah. I quickly scroll. So, so I try, just to listen to that prompting. For me, it's God. I hear what he's prompting me to do. And so I've been really walking in that. And that's been hard. It's not an easy thing to do. And for me not to just, go ahead with all these plans that I had written down. How when you have your why, okay, then my why is I want to help people. I want to show them the light. And then the who, and that's where I always got messed up. I'm like, I don't know who, and God's like, I'll show you. And so that made it easier, but you can't write that down because that's not accurate, right? Whoever he shows me, whoever comes in my path, that's how it is. And that's how I've met Lynn all through these different paths. It's been amazing, the people that I have been able to learn from. And that was the thing, is I've always been a learner. Like, I know that somebody that comes in front of me is there to teach me something, and maybe I'm to teach them something, but it's an exchange, just like it is with God. Like, I feel like it's always an exchange, and I'm just always a student, so that's I
like how you said you got to slow down and just take your time and stuff. And, because so many people miss so much because they're thinking about what's next instead of looking at what's here. And we miss opportunities because I'm thinking about the next step down the road instead of, well, look where you are right now. Look what you can do here. The other stuff will come. Just lay it out. I'm glad that you chose the path you chose.
Yeah.
It would not
have been I agree with Rex.
as a wallflower. It would
Wherever
not
Rex
have been
is. No, and Rex talks about manifesting, and I think manifesting is listening and doing, right? And that's how I take it. I don't know, Rex, is that how you, it's like listening and doing, but at the same time manifesting. I write all that stuff down. I'm a writer. Like, I have to write it down. It will happen if I write it. I don't know why. There's something between the pen and the paper that works for me versus typing. Like I believe in manifesting things, and I just am now listening more than I am trying to do it myself. It's almost like I'm letting it become. I don't know how to explain that. Rex, can you explain that? But anyway, yeah, thank you.
Appreciate your story. We do.
I love you, Sandy. And she spoke about the light. I couldn't written that any better for the next person that had his light go off and come back on. Mr. John Horton.
I manifested my light to go off. I don't know technology, man. I don't get it. They still fake shit. I don't know what's happening. But it's funny, just writing notes, because I'm a pen and paper kind of guy, listening to the beautiful speakers before me and the weird shit that happened before we got on the air. When you were talking about being not easy is rewarding, not easy is rewarding. Easy is not rewarding. Sitting back and getting what you want is not rewarding, Scott. And you had brought it up that it's not easy. Well, you know what? Easy stuff doesn't come to those that want to work. It honestly doesn't. Sandy, you said we're talking about observing and learning, impacting everything daily. It's crazy. I'm in the mortgage business, man. I was a DJ for many, many years. And now I'm in a wonderful mortgage business where rates are fantastic and inventory is wonderful. No, it's not. Every day you literally wake up manifesting what you want to do. And I don't want to say I didn't get into it, but I went to a class in Colorado, and it was literally believing in yourself and what you want to do. And writing it down, exactly what you said, Sandy, writing it down. There's something with that pen and paper. And believe me, I can't put my hands up because I keep going back to Rex's pre-show, and I got to put my hands down. I can't do it. But it's so unbelievable. Don't say it, Scott. It's so unbelievable when you think what you want, it actually happens. It really does. I know a lot of people don't believe it. It's almost like anything else. What do they say? 6 weeks forms a habit. You do something for 6 weeks. You do this. I am fortunate enough to have a great wife and 6 kids, man. So believe me, there's a lot going on. But when you manifest what you want to happen and how you can do it, and Sandy, if you have God's phone number, I'd appreciate it if you would send it to me. Apparently, there's a direct line there where you have a great conversation. But what happens in the sales business? I mean, I get up every morning. Before I get up, before I open my eyes, I tell my day what it's going to be like. Before I close my eyes at night, I thank everyone for what I got today, whether it was good or bad. But you know what? Tomorrow's going to be better. And once you get in that positive mental attitude, once you get in that manifestation, and on, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, they compared manifestation to praying. And the reason they did it is because a lot of people don't pray, but a lot of people manifest. But what they said is, if you think about what you're looking for, not what you ask for. You can't ask for it. You have to thank people for it because it's already happened. So it's already happened. So there's 2 different lines there, but it's very similar. But listening to everyone here so far and through the previous shows, Lynn, it's pretty cool to hang out with awesome people, because the more awesome people you hang out with, the more better things that happen in your life. So it's weird how it happens when you believe. It's just getting over the hump to believe in it is, I think, what a lot of people need to do.
Did I hear properly that you used to be a DJ?
Oh, I was a DJ for 1988 to not too long ago.
Well, like a radio station?
Oh, radio station. I did the Brown Derby in Cleveland. I got stories there. Oh, yeah.
If he only had the pipes.
Wow.
Yeah.
The voice
Scott,
is perfect.
Scott, once I hit puberty, this shit's going to blow up. I'm telling you. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, John, in your best DJ voice, announce Alan to talk about his story.
Alan, I'd like to thank you to come on tonight and tell about your amazing stories. We look forward to the weather forecast once you're done. Alan, take it away.
Thank you, John, for that.
And then I'll be doing traffic.
I guess, as far back as I can remember, there's been a couple main things that have always interested me and sort of driven me. One was martial arts and Asian philosophy. Another was personal development. And another was teaching and speaking. In high school, I was class president, student body president, multiple years, loved speaking in front of everybody. Got into the military. I liked jumping out of airplanes and stuff with the 82nd, but my favorite position when I was in the military was teaching at the 2nd Infantry Division Scout Sniper School. After I graduated from that school, I went back as an instructor, got out and went to college, was still practicing martial arts, still interested in personal development, Dennis Waitley, Jim Rohns, Tony Robbins, and trying to take those lessons and apply them to my life and succeed through college, which I did with honors college, graduated through. And I was the first honor student to teach an honors student-led seminar, which I did for 2 years. So I was teaching in college to other college kids. Strategies for Success was the name of the class that I started.
And I wrote, you're still in college.
While I was still in college, I had to have a professor over me. So the Dean Madden of the Honors College was actually the professor on the books, but I did everything. And I wrote a guidebook for other honors college students, how they could teach courses on whatever topic they wanted, as long as they got a professor to sign off on. And so that was my honors college project, was teaching and then writing the guidebook for other students to teach after me. Graduated, went and taught some more. I taught in Japan. Then I went and taught in Korea, teaching English so I could further my Asian studies and martial arts studies. Came back, went to law school. I was teaching on the side at the Center for Leadership Development because the director of that knew me from when I was an undergraduate and said, could you teach some classes for the leadership students on some success principles and communication principles? So I was doing that on the side, volunteer, because I love to teach. Got done with law school. My friend was leaving, so instead of playing lawyer, I directed the Center for Student Leadership on campus for a year. That was my first job out of law school, where I got to speak and teach on leadership topics and organize leadership conferences where I brought in other speakers to speak with me and for helping the students. But then decided to go play lawyer for a while. Started teaching CLEs, continuing legal education classes for other attorneys on communication, mediation, and negotiation topics, because mediating was my favorite thing to do when I was practicing law. But then I finally decided I don't want to practice law, and I stopped the practice and really started focusing on writing and teaching and speaking. And the topics that I was good at, safety and self-defense, because I've been practicing martial arts and have done bouncing and security on the side since the 80s, and then communication, mediation, communication, negotiation, and personal development type topics, until 2012 came around and people started saying, Alan, what do we do with these active shooter situations? It was right after the Aurora shooting in Colorado. And that's when I sort of shifted gears and added the active shooter response training. And so now I am teaching active shooter response training all over the country. I teach effective communication, primarily for dealing with difficult people and de-escalation, so maybe it doesn't get to the violence. And then I'm also working on projects, the personal development. If you look at some of my TikTok videos or my morning show, it's not all on safety. A lot of times I'm talking personal development because I've lived it. I mean, I've studied it since the 80s with Dennis Waitley and Jim Rohn and them, but I've applied it. I had an idea one day, I want to go meet President Ronald Reagan. People laughed at me. I went and spent 30 minutes with President Reagan in his office, one-on-one. Well, I mean, I sort of want, I'd always sort of had an interest in acting, but never really pursued it. And then I got a chance. It's like, oh, you can be background extra on the television show Yellowstone. Sure, why not? Let's go do it. It might be fun. It's a cool experience. And that led to a couple of weeks ago, I had a minor part in a movie with Eric Roberts, who was in one of my favorite, yep, there we are. He was in one of my favorite martial art movies way back in 1989. I've been an Eric Roberts fan for decades. Finally got to meet him, be in a movie with him, sit and talk about those old movies. So I like to encourage people to get out and have experiences. And then my whole motto is enjoy life safely. I want people to go out and experience all they can, enjoy all they can with the wonderful things in life, and just be safe while they're doing it. So I'm going to teach safety habits and personal development, and let's go out and experience life and encourage people to do that. And I love doing it, whether I'm on a stage teaching active shooter, communication, or in motivating people just to go out and do more than sit at home. Get out and travel, experience the world. I enjoy all of that, regardless of what I'm doing. And everything sort of in my history led me to this point to hopefully influence a lot of people to enjoy life, be exceptional, and help them stay safe while they're out there doing it.
Hey, real quick, I'm sorry, Lynn. Thanks for you, man. Thanks for your service. I'm sure you've told it a million times, but every time you're told it, please believe it. No one says that, and no one takes that for granted. So, man, thanks for your brother.
Well, thank you for saying that, John. I do appreciate that.
And Alan, you're a wonderful addition to our group here because we all love personal development, and we all love the fact that we are one big thing here is that we want everybody to know we all have different views and we all have different ways of seeing it. And so you being this addition here is just, we're just blessed to have you here. So
thank you, Lynn.
I love and appreciate you very much. And I'm
glad I didn't have to follow him.
and this goes perfect with Rex, because I want to know if he knows Eric Roberts or have you met him or whatever, because Mr. Rex Steven Sykes is he's been an actor since he was way young and back in the day, and we got pictures. I got pictures to prove it here. So anyways, he is very modest, very humble, very caring and kind, and we have a rock star. We have somebody that has been in the industry of speaking, and I mean, I'm sitting here bragging about this man because he's just an amazing guy. He's him and Hipster. And I mean, we're just one person removed from being connected to everybody in this room. And I'm just blessed with the people that we have here. But Rex is very, very humble and kind. And I have to say that because he won't. So, Mr. Rex, I love you. I'm
very humble and kind.
Okay.
Can you do Rex, can you do your hand motions again like the first time so I really can't sleep tonight?
Okay,
this is how other people do it. This is how it's done. It's come. Go, come. All right, so this is the city. Millions of people are sleeping. I'm Joe Friday. I'm also Joe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Friday.
So what happened was I woke up to the fact that I had some mission in life that I didn't know quite how to articulate it, and I wanted to be an actor. And I spent most of my life running away from what I knew my true purpose was. And whenever I would find a calamity or some kind of weird thing that would happen. I write about one of them in my book. But the bottom line was, they say that teachers are people who don't do, they teach. They say psychologists are screwed up. That's why they go into psychology. Well, self-help teachers, guess what?
They help everybody but themselves, no?
There's no proof of that now.
It's like the house painter.
What I wanted not to be was I didn't want to be Jim Rohn. I didn't want to be Dennis Waitley. I didn't want to be Brian Tracy. I don't want to be Tony Robbins. I don't want to be any of those people. I want to be me. And who am I? I'm 8 billion people on the planet. Every single one of us. Every single one of us is the same person with a different set of circumstances. My work, yes, I'm a trainer, corporate, professional, personal, whatever you want to call it. But my role, my work is transmission. It's transmutation, it's transformation, and it's transcendence. It is about relationships with the 8 billion people who are just one person in all sorts of different kinds of skins and areas. I'm no different than anybody else. We're no different than each other. We're all divine, expressing ourselves in whatever way, and that's why I'm here. It's simply to meet with people. I've been in front of the thousands of people. I've been in front of millions of people. I don't give a crap about that. I'd rather sit down and have coffee with somebody or do a small program with 50 people or 100 people or something like that and get to know them and meet them, because it's not about talking to people. It's about the transmission that occurs when people connect at a different level. It's not about the intellectual remembering of all this stuff to try and manifest. It's having that energy arise from being in the presence of divine and divinity and having a life that is so full and so filled and so overwhelmingly wonderful that it's contagious for other people, as opposed to trying to get people to remember to do silly things like, don't forget your keys, take them with you when you go. You know, we impart ourselves in different ways, and all of them are valid. All of them, everyone is valid. But there are a lot of self-help people out there who are totally screwed up, and they may be big popular people who make it harder for people to change and develop, because they follow the same kind of social conditioning that's been perpetuated on us since almost the dawn of humankind. I'm very fond of saying, for example, that science hasn't invented or discovered anything new. They just discover what already is and present it to people who aren't aware that it's been around for a long, long time. Now, that's not to say that tomorrow they won't come up with a new plastic or a new way of doing something that we've never seen to do before. But anything that's ever needed to be done arises at the right time. And if it's not the exact time that it's needed, it's shortly thereafter. Look at COVID. When COVID arose, we had Zoom, we had ways of staying in touch, we had social media. The world changes through pain and through suffering, through discomfort and through discontent. And so all of it is good. Every hardship, every thing that we go through is part of I don't want to say a plan, because I don't mean to make it a plan, but it's all part of the divine providence, let's say. So one of my favorite scriptures is, "This is the day the Lord has made, rejoice and be glad in it." And if you know me, you know that I say, if you consider something a problem, it's a problem. If you consider something a blessing, it's a blessing, because it's about your attitude. It's about your perception. It's about what you label it, because what you say is what you get. What you see is what you get. What you feel is what you get. What you understand is what you get. So I say celebrate everything. And the scripture is this. This, meaning now, is the day, the one that we have, that the Lord, whether you believe in God up there or God down here or inside or outside or divine intelligence or whatever you want to call it, it's the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. That's not saying rejoice in part of it or some of it, or just in the good stuff and avoid the bad stuff and the bad people in it. It's rejoice in all of it. And when you do, everything changes. And that's why I'm here, to find that out and to share that.
Well, thank you.
The other thing he always says is this.
Because it is a choice.
Yes.
It is a choice. And as Rex was talking, I think about so many people, me being one of them at one point in my life, who felt everything was holding me back. Everything was dictating my life except me. And looking around and blaming and pointing fingers, and it's your fault and your fault and your fault. And everybody was fucking with Scott's life. And that's why I could never get a life. And the one person I had to look at in all of that was the person in the mirror and say, if you wanted it to be different, why don't you make it different? See, my greatest hurdle in my life that has ever been in my life has been my thinking. My greatest asset in my life has been my thinking. My greatest pain has come from my thinking, and my greatest joy has come from my thinking.
Right.
That being said, what am I not capable of? I'm capable of everything, and I want everybody out there to know you're all capable of whatever you choose your path to be. It's not always the right path. I'm sure everybody sitting around here has had one shitty job at least once in their life. A job where you can't believe you did that. Mine was cleaning morgues after autopsies. And I made money, but it was gross and it disturbed me greatly. And I probably got PTSD from a few of the moments there. But it was part of my path. It's what I chose. I finally, because I made so many wrong choices, and not wrong, so many choices that didn't work, I finally found one that worked. But I had to make those choices. You know, if you're miserable, look in the mirror. If you want to be happy, look in the mirror. If you want to know what you want in your life, don't go to a coach to ask them what you're supposed to do. Right. Figure out what you want, and then go to the appropriate people who can guide you in the direction you want to be. Don't look for somebody else to make your decisions in your life. You will never be happy. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. But all of you guys sharing your stories. Lynn, what about you? Your story?
Yeah, well, I started out, started out going to criminal justice and then business management. I was a peace officer in New York, and I was about to go to be a New York State trooper, got married, had my daughter, and my husband and I at the time were going to be New York State troopers. And I was working a bank. I was working auto financing. If you didn't pay your car, I was like making sure that you didn't have your car any longer. And so long story short, I ended up having to have my gallbladder out literally after I cut my hair off and was going into one day before going to a police academy. And my gallbladder I couldn't get over the attack. And and my husband at the time, he tried to get in the police academy. At the time, you had to have you weren't supposed to have you had to have perfect vision, and he lied in his glasses, and so he got rejected, and I got accepted, and he wasn't happy. So I decided the gallbladder. They said I could go 8 weeks later, but I felt like I shouldn't go because my daughter wasn't in very good hands, and that's really where my career, my life just changed. And I got drugged behind a vehicle, and my life just changed. Literally, I ended up leaving New York, and my life just literally changed from there. And so, long story short, I ended up moving out to Montana, and I needed to raise up my 3 girls, and I ended up having my own business, and I sold lingerie and novelties and different things like that. And yeah, sex does sell, because I got into personal development with a bunch of people, helping people's relationships, and I really enjoyed that for 15 years. And mostly my relationship and my marriage wasn't very good, but I enjoyed what I did because I made sure everybody else's relationship was better than mine. And it allowed me to look at my personal life being better one day when it wasn't. So I was married to somebody that was very much really loved their guns. And so I did not know everything but 3 things on domestic violence I was living for 15 years of my life. I did not know that I was in that situation. So long story short, that book is still being written and everything. And but yeah, I learned a lot. And if it wasn't for self-development and learning and almost dying a couple times, hemorrhaging with just a lot of different things I went through. And I mean, matter of fact, today I spent 40 days and 40 nights, 2 minutes apart in labor with my baby girl who almost didn't make it. And she's 26 years old today. And I made her little thing. And if you look at the first picture, there's a picture of her in there. And she was so black. I mean, she had no oxygen. She was supposed to be born November 13th. She came September 26th. And that was 40 days, 40 nights. They didn't think either one of us would make it. And I was never supposed to have kids because my firstborn, he 8 months along, it was a boy, stillborn. I was never to have any kids. So I've been blessed many times over, is all I can say. So today I do cherish today that we both made it through. And in 2016, 6 months after my mom passed away, she had MRSA and she was sepsis. So again, I am blessed that I see that she's 29 today, and I told her she can forever stay 29. So, I've just been blessed to see staying positive and keeping a mindset of positive. And I know what the world can give when you believe and you do the right things in life. So I stay by with really good people that have integrity and believe. And it's just brought me really good people. And I'm just so blessed what we're building here, because I think the world needs to see people that are vulnerable, that share their lives, because there's so many people out there that are teaching people things, and they sugarcoat so much. And yet people need real life, true things to know that truly people go through things and you can go through it on the other side. And Alan's showing people how to be safe. Those are things that are very important. And I don't know if he still sells that one product, but we'll have to talk about that some other time. But all I'm saying is it's amazing where we get to and where we're from, but we have to go all through these things in life to be the better person and to change people's lives, but to share those things. And so you guys sharing your lives today, you're set out to do one thing and you do another. It's a blessing. And it's so great to see that we can all get together and for the commonality of helping other people to see that, it's fail forward, be or do something just to see where you end up. Because you break something isn't necessarily going to mean it's going to break for everybody the same way. So, yeah.
Thanks, Lynn. Thanks for sharing that. It's awesome. It's awesome. Quite a journey. A journey. As everybody has shared, we've all had our journey. Sure. We found what we're supposed to do. I see a lot of smiling faces, a lot of people just pleased with themselves. And you're allowed to be pleased with yourself because you're making the right choices for you. You live in your life. Let's go around, maybe 30 seconds each and just kind of give a little wrap up on, there's people out there watching right now that feel like they're stuck and they can't move into what they want to be. What would you tell them? And I know there's not a magic phrase and there's no, you can't give them the empowerment. That's got to come from within them. But if you had to tell somebody something who keeps telling you over and over, I'm stuck, I'll never change, I want to be different, but I can't. Let's end with a quick message to those people, and maybe we can give them a little bit of hope. So, Kellen Ann, why don't we start with you?
I have a little story. It's about when I was told I was a horrible writer. That was a constraint that was put in my life. And I let that constraint rule my ability to write for over 20 years. So just to remember, the biggest constraint in your life is usually put upon yourself. You do it yourself.
Love it.
Awesome.
Mr. Rex.
Quick story. I'm not that quick usually. So, yeah.
I love you, Kellen. Rex.
Who's next?
Rex. We'll just go down.
Rex.
So, if
this is not going to be 30 seconds, by the way. I'll tell you right now.
You just took from his 30 seconds.
You in the face 15, 20, 30 years ago, and you're still suffering from it. Who's being worse to you? You or the person who punched you?
Yes.
Love yourself, get over it, move forward because you can. And you're right, that wasn't 30 seconds.
Too hipster?
Thanks.
If you're stuck, move. I mean, you've got to create some activity, and the reality is you can truly accomplish whatever you set your mind to. And whether it's not that you can't accomplish it, it's you may or may not be able to accomplish what you think somebody else might do. And it's not about what somebody else might do. It's about what you might do and what makes your heart go pitter pat and what gets you excited and gives you joy. and does all that. You don't have to do a whole lot of things other than what fulfills you and adds to the greater good. And when you do that, you can accomplish anything. Go do it.
Love it. Alan?
Excellent.
I actually answered this question this morning on my live Coffee with Alan show. And what you need to do is you need to immediately, right now, make an appointment with yourself. Later tonight, tomorrow, but not any later than tomorrow night. Make an appointment with yourself where you're going to sit in some solitude and think about, what do you appreciate and what are you grateful in your life? And where do you want to go? And what do you really want to do and why? And when you figure that out, you can start making the plan and the action steps to start making it happen. But it starts with taking a moment out of your busy, hectic life and doing some thinking about what's good, what do you appreciate, what are you grateful for, and then where do you want to go? That's where we need to start.
Oh, I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sandy.
Okay. Well, he stole my answer, but anyway. Stop blaming people. There we go. Stop blaming people.
Yeah.
That's the first one. Stop blaming people. Stop blaming people. That is, if you're stuck, it's usually because you're blaming yourself or somebody else. So stop it. Stop blaming them. Brooks talked about that on the whole stop it thing. But stop blaming yourself. Stop blaming other people and go, where am I at today, right now? And what is it I want to do? And then change your mind and make it happen. And then put the pieces together. Don't just make up your mind. Just make up your mind today to do it. That's it. So that's it.
Love it.
Awesome. John.
Thanks for coming back.
And I have no idea what happened with the background.
You got to pay the bills sometimes.
I feel like I'm in a Star Wars. Mortgage rates are high. We have to slim down on the bills, Lynn. Anyway, bottom line is hang out with people like yourself. Don't feel bad about yourself. You get this group here who I was fortunate to meet maybe 4 months ago. Man, wake up with a good attitude. You wake up with a bad attitude, that's where it's going to go. If you need help, reach out and get help. Never feel bad about getting help. I think that's where we see a lot of people go down the bad road. Man, people have friends. There's so many things out there. There's so many positive things out there. We talked tonight real quick about everything from sex cells to, whatever you do when you change your mind. If someone was to listen to this and what Rex had said, celebrate everything. When you do, everything changes. Come on, man. How simpler can it be? No matter where you're at, celebrate everything. If you can't celebrate and you don't have someone to lift you up, find someone to lift you up. There's so many people out there to help you because there's so many positive things. And I'm telling you, my positive thing is to get rid of what's happening behind me next week. So let's go, man.
Love you, John. Scott, I love you so much. This has been a great show. What do you think?
This has been a fantastic show. And, I just keep coming back to, don't rob yourself of the greatest adventure any human being could ever have. The adventure of discovering their own capabilities and their own talents and their own joy. And discover that, stop booking your trips to the Bahamas into London, into wherever you're going. Start taking the real journey inside and find out what you have. A year and a half ago, I'd never touched a paintbrush. Now my art is life, and there you go. Yeah. Those
you look different in that photo.
Yeah. They did find out that the Stonehenge was actually ancient Legos from a giant race of people.
And they get rotated every 6 months.
Yeah. And if you step on one, you'll realize. But honestly, folks, if you're standing there is a world to explore just inside yourself. Do that. Do that. And you're going to be amazed. And that's when you're going to find things out about you. You don't know until you do. And the only one that can do is you. you know? So God bless everybody. And please, please stop looking around for reasons why you can't do things and start saying, why not? Why not? Yeah, I love all you guys for being here. You guys are fantastic. You're awesome. Lynn, as always, my darling, you're the best.
Love you.
That's
Okay,
it. For,
bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
You
Love
guys
you
have a
guys.
good
Keeping
Stay
me
right after the
safe
show.
and sound. And when I fall